Hello, everyone, and welcome to Privateer Press Primecast number 51, the only official place for all your Privateer Press news. I'm your host, Will Schick, and I'm here with my co-host, Will Hungerford.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to what is a very interesting Primecast. If you're listening to this later on, we are doing Primecast live.
That's right, and not live like we did at Gen Con, where it was live in front of a small group of people that were all in the same room. This is live in that it is being live streamed to the internet.
Yes.
There's no dump button. There's no
editing.
Back.
Oh, there's no editing.
It's raw.
So if during this you hear us say a nickname, a username, and a question, we answer it. We're going to be going through our segments like normal. We're going to be doing our different parts of Primecast that you're used to. But we may also be interacting with both Twitch and Facebook Live. And you can also come watch us at twitch.tv/privateerpress, and obviously on Facebook Live whenever we go live, and catch it on YouTube later on at youtube.com/privateerpressprime.
All right, with that out of the way.
That was professional. Well done.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it like it's like you rehearsed? Like you rehearsed.
Well, we are for people.
I'm going to need you to bring the level down.
Before we get into things, let's talk about this. We use Privateer Press, for those of you that are on the internet. We stream.
All of you watching this right now.
Same
thing.
Hey man, this is a podcast. They might have not had internet before. Maybe somebody burnt it onto a cassette tape and gave it to them to listen into their car. We don't know. I don't know how people listen to us.
Sure,
I'm not in their houses.
Yeah, there we go.
We are streaming a ton of content lately. So every Tuesday we've been doing weekly rumbles at 10 a.m. Pacific. Every Wednesday we've been doing dev chats at 10 a.m. Pacific. Same thing. Thursdays with Dallas, we get your paint on. And now we've got Primecast Live, which right now is probably once a month.
Yes, probably, maybe.
So,
I mean, right now it's just a very special. We're trying it. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm expecting that we'll be back very soon to do it again. But
let's talk about
the episode. Let's talk about what we got going on, because we've got some pretty crazy stuff that happened. I think let's just be honest. Let's just talk about the giant monster in the room, Monsterpocalypse.
Monsterpocalypse
Announced that yesterday.
Yeah.
Huge excitement.
Yesterday was, okay, so by the way, we get asked this a lot. Is it hard to keep secrets when you work in the game industry? The answer is yes. I've been wanting to scream the words Monpoc at the top of my lungs for quite some time now.
To be fair, you have screamed the words Monpoc at the top
I
of your
have,
lungs,
here
in
internally.
the building.
We are all as excited as you are. The response from the community and everybody that saw the announcement yesterday has been phenomenal. We'll be talking a little bit more about Monpoc later on during the struggle.
A little bit. We're going to go over a bit of the announcement, kind of flesh some things out. Obviously, we've got a long time till fall, so unfortunately, while we would love to do it, I had to rein everybody in and be like, you can't talk about everything yet because there's a plan, and we want to make sure that everybody gets stuff as we go forward and not just spoil it all up front.
But if you don't know if you're watching this and you're like, Monpoc, what? Go check out the Insider at privateerpress.com from Matt Wilson talking about it, and then go to monsterpocalypse.com.
Yep.
The new website just launched. Everything is there. You get to see cool images of the new models, and we'll talk about it more. But go check it out, and I think our hype will become more and more apparent as we talk about this.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. One of the big things
I want to paint Martians so badly.
Oh, all of the models are going to look incredible just based on what we're seeing from renders. But for me specifically, Monpoc is such a huge deal because when I started 10 years ago with the company, we were literally launching Monpoc. So I was here just a month or two before the actual release, and I have so many just green memories of coming into the company and being handed a rule book and being told to read this. I knew it was coming, and then all this good stuff that we'll talk about, I'm sure, more and more. But so for me, it's really a full circle kind of thing. And I know for a lot of people, Monpoc was the way that they found War Machine and Hordes.
Yeah.
And how they came into Privateer Press products in general. So it's really cool to kind of just be at this moment where a decade later, all of a sudden, we're back, we're new, it's fresh, but it's bigger and better than it ever was, in terms of what we're getting to present and all that. So it's really exciting. But again, I have to rein myself in because I can't go too far.
What is your faction? Before we go to the content list and actually start the show.
Oh, I never had one. I had them all.
You have to pick one.
No, I don't have to pick one. I literally have them all.
If you had to pick one.
I wouldn't. I would pick all of them. I refuse to play your game because it's not how it works. There is no number one. Every single one of them was awesome.
For everybody watching right now that's on the live, what is the faction you've seen that interests you the most? Let us know in chat. For me, it's Martians. I'm all about the Martians. I love the Pterosaurs and I love all the factions in different ways. But the Martians, man, I look at them and I'm like, I wanna straight abduct people and turn them into horrible things.
I mean, the Martians were really cool, and like what they could do on the table in terms of gameplay was awesome. The pterosaurs, though, you gotta love yourself some giant dinosaurs, just like rampaging through, eating people. It's amazing. They eat less people now, though, because they're kind of protectors. But
I grew up watching.
they still probably eat some people. Like every once in a while, you're not watching. It's just like
The pterosaurs are like, I grew up watching old 70s martial arts films and like kaiju movies, like old school kaiju movies. So like, yeah, giant dinosaurs ripping things apart.
But then you got like, I'm sorry, but like every boy's dream. When they're like
this
8,
is a bold
every
statement.
boy's dream when they're 8, giant robot you can drive around. I don't care who you are. Like nobody in their life as like a young kid is like, oh. No, I would totally pass on that.
I don't even think that's just little boys. That might be little boys, little girls,
it
little
might
undefined.
It might be
Who
everyone,
knows?
but
Yeah.
you know, like for me, you know, is like one of the things where I have 2 boys. They're seeing like all these previews for movies and stuff. They see all the giant robots on my shelf, right? And I brought out the Monsterpocalypse stuff, and they're just like, "That's amazing! I need this in my life." Like they love the robot idea. So
See,
everybody wants a giant robot.
When I was 8, actually, I just wanted a Mogwai because I watched Gremlins a whole bunch.
Oh, I see. But if somebody had shown, like, given you the option, like giant robot,
A giant Mogwai robot? I'd have driven the hell out of that thing.
Don't feed that after midnight.
Don't get it wet.
Terrible.
Or do get it wet. All right, we've got an hour, by the way, everyone that's watching, so we're going to try and keep to that as close as we can.
Yep.
This is our first time doing this. We are literally doing it live, so this might...
I mean,
who knows what's about to happen?
It's already off the rails, but we didn't put rails down, so it doesn't matter.
Let's talk about what we're talking about for the show, and then we'll start talking.
Well, we pretty much covered it. So we're gonna talk about Monpoc. We're gonna have
The new releases.
We're gonna talk about that next. We're gonna bring on, I believe, Matt Getz for Immer and Minutia, which you're gonna be a part of for the first time ever.
I've never been part of the lore talks.
Holy cow!
I'm super excited because I know the lore of the setting super well. I'd say the top 3 people that in the community that know the lore that don't work here is myself, Travis Marg, and Jay Larson. And we have a private chat where we just talk about
all the
lore
time.
All the time.
Yeah,
all the
just
time.
ready to go.
Yeah, all the time.
All right, so we got that going on.
Yep.
Then we're going to move on to Struggle of Wills. We're going to bring in Will Pagani.
Yep, we're going to talk about
have our Will Cubed.
We're going to talk a little bit about like the
discussion.
Steamroller CID wrap up, the Crucible Guard CID briefly, and then obviously
Crucible Guard, that happened too. I mean, this week,
it's been a big week.
I hate to use this word because honestly, it makes me feel sad inside, but I'm going to use it. This week has been succulent.
Yes!
Succulent. A little part of my soul just died from that, but I cannot come up with a better.
Mission accomplished.
Adjective.
Yeah.
I can't.
I came to Privateer Press for one reason.
You finally won.
And that was for you to say the word succulent on a live stream.
know.
This can't be edited out.
It just happened. I know. I can't even go back. We're stuck now.
It can be edited out.
Well, later.
Yeah.
Later,
But I
but
mean,
not
they all
live.
heard it.
And then after we do the Struggle of Wills, we'll talk more about Monsterpocalypse then. Then JR is going to come on. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming conventions. And then we'll do a quick outro. And we'll be done. So we're going to edit this afterwards and actually put the podcast up for people to listen to, where we will have the drums that everyone's used to. But the drums are not playable live yet because this is our first time doing this. And if we don't have drums. Tony didn't bring the drums in. Tony, you should bring drums next time and literally play drums for us. But for
I
now,
do have a drum set and play drums.
Yeah.
See, there you go. John's gonna cover us.
So we're going to say play the drums, and that's going to be our way to cut to the next segment, and we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, sure.
So John, play the drums.
Double, 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 huh.
I like that. Okay. So let's talk about some new releases.
Live drums are best drums.
Live drums are best drums.
Best drums.
Double, double, double,
All right. So the first big new release we need to talk about. For those watching, you should all have 3D glasses. Put your 3D glasses on now. So it's live. What? It's fine. So obviously the first big release we got to talk about is my favorite, the Slaughterfleet Raiders box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played this actually on Tuesday on the live stream against your fellow developer, Oz
my boss.
Schoonover, your boss.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's inside of the box. So the Slaughterfleet CID wrapped up earlier this year. That's all the new Statixis models and like the new Blood Gorgers and stuff like that. That's part of where Scar 3 came out. So the new Theme Force box is basically everything. You take a Cryx battle box, and if you add it to that box, it gives you a
35 point.
35 point.
35 point. Yep.
Inside of it, you've got the new sculpt of the Blood Gorgers. I believe Jusica's in there. You get Slaughterborn. You get one of the Misery cages. You get the new
Shard Dirge Seers.
The Dirge Seers, and I feel like you get the Ironmongers in there.
You get the Iron. Yep. You get the Black
the
Ogre,
Ironmongers.
And you said so.
My memory is like a laser.
One of the things that I really like about this box is outside of the Dirge Seers, it feels like you're playing Trollbloods and Cryx.
Yeah.
And that's a great feeling.
That is a box full of big,
feeling.
beefy bros.
Yeah.
Like, there's only, what, 3 small-based models in that entire box?
And the whole thing.
And the rest of it's all medium-based dudes.
And like you said, if you take the Battle Group box from Cryx and add that in, you add 1 extra 30 mil base, and that's like it. So
yeah, so that's an awesome box. And if you're going to start playing Slaughterfleet, it's a great starter, right? Every model in there is a unit that you will probably use in Army list that you will grow out of.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like I had Blood Gorgers from way back when in Mark 1 when they could eat enough people to take an extra turn, which was amazing and never happened. But
old
just the idea of it was fantastic. So I had the old unit, I got the new unit. The new unit is great. Like, I love the updated sculpts. They look really good. But the thing that I'm really happy about is sometimes you get updated sculpts, you put them next to your old ones, you're like, are they going to fit or are they going to be like starkly different?
No, the scale's good, right?
And the scale is really good.
Yeah.
The new ones are definitely a little beefier, a little bigger. But honestly, when I had them on the table together when I was playing against Oz, like I couldn't really tell, right? The color schemes were different because I had to borrow the studio ones because I haven't quite finished mine from the box.
That enchanted life where you get to play with studio painted models on a live stream and
That's
get
just
paid for
nerve-wracking.
it.
It's like, I'm going to scratch this thing and then Dallas is going to just beat me.
You're literally getting money to do that.
No, it's nerve-wracking because you're holding models that, somebody spent hours over.
What happens if you drop one?
I got to be honest.
You're an executive director.
Nothing would happen to me, but I'd feel bad.
I'm
not a monster.
If I drop Scar 3, like, I'm done. But, like, if you drop Scar 3...
Why are you touching Scar 3?
So, next week, I think, also, speaking of resculpts, the Statixis Raider resculpt box.
Oh, my gosh.
Which comes with the Sea Witch in the box now. It's the full unit and the command attachment all in one.
Those girls
I
look
got mine
so
yesterday.
good.
Yeah.
So good. We pirated them up. They look like the Fluff has always kind of described them.
This is their third sculpt, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, because there's the super classic ones that came in way tiny. They were very small. But JR, actually, our convention manager, still has his. I love seeing those things on the table because they're so cute. they're just so precious.
You just stick them next to like an agonizer and they're just like a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I mean, you stick them next to a troll, like a pig, and it's just like a PYG pig, and you're like, oh, that pig is massive.
Yeah.
Hello, girls.
But the new sculpts, are they resin?
Yeah, they're resin metal.
Okay, cool. And
just like most of our new stuff now, so they're a little combo kit. They come on a sprue of resin. But yeah, Doug Hamilton took the sculpts and did them.
It's a Doug sculpt?
It's a Doug sculpt. Oh. But the whole idea was kind of to bring them into that pirate feel more so than the original Raiders, which had a great look, but weren't necessarily evocative of this whole Black Fleet idea. And so it was really fun to get to go back and revisit them in that. And so now you've kind of got your like super piratey Statixis, and then you've got your more normal Cryx Statixis that you can play with together. Yeah, and you'll notice that like there's the Blood Gorger resculpt and the Statixis Raiders resculpt, which is because those are like, when you think of the ways you can play Slaughterfleet or Scourge of the Broken Coast, those are two like the mainstay units, two iconic units. So it made sense that they both got resculpted. Yeah, well, and one of the things with the Blood Gorgers too is that we had the Marauders, which are on your list to talk about as well. And so since we had an opportunity to kind of make those guys together, we just decided, hey, we're already making a really cool new Blighted Trollkin. Let's just do extra arms for them, give them some swords and some axes, and get both units out of one.
Our sculptors are so talented.
I know.
Doug Hamilton, if you're watching right now, or if you listen to this podcast later on, good job, buddy. You do succulent work. Also next week is the Statixis Blood Priestess, a brand new model. It's a Warcaster attachment. It has some really cool rules. It's a Scarlock in a kind of a different way in that if it kills a living model, it gets to, and that includes your own, it gets to cast a spell of cost 3 or less on the caster's card.
Yeah, so basically she's got a menu of abilities on her sacrificial blood sword thingy. One of the ones is Blood Rights.
But she has Arcane Assist.
She has Arcane Assist.
For free upkeep. But my favorite thing about her in terms of rules, well, first off, before we talk about it, we've got the sculpt actually on the screen right now. And if you're listening to this later, go check her out on the website. She looks awesome.
I love the voodoo face that they did, right? Like just super evocative of that kind of like dark voodoo magic kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, and being me from the Bayou, anytime I see somebody doing some like Bokor kind of
sugar skull kind of action,
little hoodoo voodoo going on, I'm like, I am 100% in. So like, I don't even play Statixis. I'm picking this model up just to paint for funsies. Because I just look at the sculpt and I'm like, that's dope. And when I play IKRPG or Unleashed, I'm gonna use this model.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She'd make a great little like nasty
villain.
NPC.
Oh, she's gonna be an amazing villain. Yeah. Absolutely. But the main thing rules-wise in War Machine Hordes is that she gives your caster succor.
She does, yes. Yeah, she's got I forget what it's called, something like some magical like spell name thing. But yeah, she gives your Warcaster sucker.
It's called Lollipop.
Which is
your
ridiculous.
caster gets a sucker.
It's not Lollipop.
It's not Lollipop.
No, that's inaccurate. The other one that I really like, talking about her dagger and the different abilities it has, when she murders somebody, she can just heal your Warcaster for D3 plus 3 health.
She's Scar 3's best friend.
Real good.
Like Scar 3, one of the biggest concerns, obviously, is Scar 3 being shot to death, and she has ways to protect herself. But like being able to give Scar 3 sucker is legit. And so I think if you're playing Scar 3 in Scourge, which is a great idea, you're going to want to pick one of these up, in my opinion.
I'm taking her with Terminus.
Oh, yeah, good choice.
We've got 2 other releases later on this month that we're going to cover. Again, all Slaughterfleet related. We've got the Black Ogren Ironmongers.
There you go, yeah.
Which are definitive within, like redefining of the Black Industries theme force. These are big, beefy mechanics that have Curse Warjack for Cryx.
Well, and they have Dismantle too, which
it comes
ties into their big beefiness, because these guys don't hit like normal mechanics. They hit like Ogren.
No, these are mechanics that will live. They will beat stuff to death with their wrenches because they're badasses. But Curse Warjack is super good. And if you're playing Black Industries, which is one of my personal favorite Cryx theme forces, especially with like the new Denegra 2 running Deathjack, Black Ogre and Ironmongers are like almost an auto include in my opinion. That's not set in stone by any means. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I run them in every Black Industries list I possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last thing we have coming out this month is Jusica Bloodtongue.
Oh, man. Yeah, she's in the box,
Yeah.
as we talked about, that comes out today. And if you're going to take Blighted Trollkin, you're going to take Jusica, because that girl is dope.
She has no sleeping on the job.
No sleeping on the job, yes.
And for
alone.
a bunch of tough Blighted Trollkin,
But she also gives you access to Pathfinder with Relentless Charge, which is another huge thing when you've got that bloodthirst going on for the extra inches and all that stuff. So yeah, she's so good.
she also has a blighted whelp, or is it a pig?
I think it's a whelp.
I think
pretty
it's a whelp.
small.
Holding a little gun.
Yeah, well, when we were actually concepting the model, we knew that she had to have 2 melee weapons because Blighted Trollkin, Blood Gorgers, they always have 2 melee weapons. But then we gave her a gun, and they were like, "What do we do with the gun?" And it was like, "Well, you could have it slung on her back," but somebody came up with the idea. They were like, "Why don't we give it to a little blighted whelp guy to hold?"
All right.
And we're like,
So
"Yes, that must happen."
So before we get Getz in here real fast, and I want to get your opinion, and if you're watching this live, feel free to give your answer. If everyone's seen the new Mrs. Walls sculpt that's coming as a mini crate, it's exclusive, all right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exclusive to Mini Crate, so you got to get it from Mini Crate.
But is it the one
And
you get?
it's the VIP one, so
Okay.
you have to subscribe for 6 months. You get Mrs. Walls for free.
Okay. Mrs. Walls has among her mini guns a monkey. She has the monkey on her shoulder, and the monkey has a gun now.
Well,
So,
yeah.
Mr. Walls, the monkey, didn't have a gun.
No.
Mrs. Walls, the monkey, has a gun. So in a fight between Mrs. Walls and Jusica, monkey gun, whelp gun, who's winning? Who's winning the fight of the armed babies, the armed pets?
I gotta be honest, I think the whelp's gonna win. Whelps are just tougher than monkeys.
Monkeys are savage.
Monkeys are just savage.
You ever fought a monkey?
Don't forget that the Plaid Piper mini crate model also had a sword.
That's true. There was a sword whelp as well on the Plaid Piper.
Monkeys, though.
But you don't want to bring a sword to a gunfight.
Have you ever been in a fist fight with a monkey?
No.
Have you ever had a monkey shoot
No,
at
I
you?
feel like these are the rails that we should have established first.
So anyway, and by the way, talking about all this new cool Cryx stuff, No Quarter Prime 4, which is out, I believe, March 23rd,
Yep.
is going to have all this new Cryx stuff in it, like fluff backgrounds and cool stuff like that. It also has a bunch of new Strange Light RPG content in it, and it's got Scrapyard, the new No Quarter game.
Favorite story about the Strange Light RPG content that's in there?
Yeah.
It ran too long. Like they made so much content that they couldn't fit it in all the pages. So they were having a meeting, and they were talking about what do we cut, right? And they went back and forth on all this stuff about what to get rid of and all, and they did manage to trim it down. But the way that they came to that resolution was they kind of just threw it all in a pile and drew a name because they didn't want to get rid of any of it. So you're going to see that stuff later, through insiders and stuff.
Yeah, but they literally...
But effectively, they could come to no agreement between them, and so they just randomly selected the one thing because they were all of it could come out, all of it could stand based on the content because there's a lot of it added stuff. And so all of a sudden, it's just it was great. It was so funny because they told me that story later. And I was like, These are the professional moments of like working at Privateer, where it's like we can't make a choice. Random selection, boys.
Yeah.
Random selection.
So we're gonna go ahead and let's get Getz in here and do the Immer Minutia. I'm gonna go ahead and say play the drums, but Tony, can you play the drums for us?
Oh, Tony's got to get set.
Tony's
Hold on.
getting the mic on.
He's really,
Tony, do it.
man. This is a production right here.
Nice, nice.
Those were some like heavy metal drums right there.
So,
That was like
so for
that was
everybody
double
watching
bass
live,
pedal.
this part might actually get edited out of the podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang out. We're going to look at a couple of the questions people have been asking while we get our guest for the next segment for the podcast.
He was not
to
on
come
deck
in.
like he was supposed to be.
So this is
I'm
like
gonna take a victory sip.
This
here.
is like the little hidden area in between segments where it's just us. Like John's not even in the
oh
room
man,
right now.
there's no
We
one
can-
to control us because
Tony, your drums were legit, by the way.
Tony, I don't know. I don't feel like they were a good approximation of the original drums, but they were definitely a good remix drum.
All right, I'm going to catch up on chat for a little bit. And
Go ahead,
see,
Tony.
like,
You had
what-
something to say. No, let Tony talk.
Oh,
Let
Tony, what'd you have to
Tony
say,
had
bro?
something to say. Tony had something to say.
I did not come in prepared, so I think I did a pretty good job with just busting it out right then.
Wow. Is that
So I had my moment.
is that your explanation on like performance evals and stuff too?
I think-
like
yeah.
I didn't know what was expected, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. Like what is that? Oh, Getz is here.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. Come on in. Come on in.
John, we've decided
Sit down.
between segments after we say play the drums that while the next guest is coming in, this is the hidden part that's only for the stream and for YouTube. Like this is the part that gets edited out basically for Primecast. Where we
What
just
did
talk.
you do?
We didn't do anything, though. Tony gave us a good insight into his life.
His philosophy on work
Yeah,
and
philosophy.
success.
Yeah, his philosophy on work and success.
No preparation whatsoever.
I'm into that.
All right. So, Mr. Getz, welcome to Primecast Live.
Yeah, this is weird and different.
Yeah. No, it's very different. Apparently, I don't know if that was turn the mic on.
Let me see.
or
Let me see your mic.
Hold
here,
the
man.
mic.
Yeah, it looks like we're on.
No, we're on.
Are we on?
Tony, this is live. This
This
is what
is
happens.
very live.
This is what happens.
By the way, there's been already a couple comments real fast in the chat about your hoodie.
What about my hoodie?
That you have a phenomenal hoodie.
Yeah,
That
no.
you're wearing the filthy casual hoodie that I think
Several staffers have
like
it. Like you
10
have
or 12
one, I
of
have
us
one, yeah.
got our filthy casual hoodies.
Yeah.
So
John's actually wearing his as well. So.
I've never done this segment, so I'm just going to kind of watch
All right.
and jump
all
in.
right.
Well, so Tony just lifted up his.
Nice.
I feel left out. I left mine at home today. This is just silly. So, all right. So it's okay that you have no idea what to do with the segment because this comes out of a page from Tony's book that we just learned.
Okay.
Which is, what are we talking about today, Getz?
Well, what do you want to talk about? We could talk about Cryx. We could talk about Strange Light. We could talk about Crucible Guard because that's what I was working on.
I feel
before
like,
coming
well,
down.
let's just let the chat. What does the chat want to hear about? Let's give them a little control.
Oh yeah.
You've got your three options.
It is Primecast Live. We might as well utilize
Might
that.
as well utilize the
So
live.
the
live
options
section.
are Strange Light, Cryx,
Yeah, the,
and
Black Fleet.
So it was a Black
Mm-hmm.
Fleet, Strange Light, and Crucible Guard.
Yeah. Crucible Guard.
Crucible Guard just blew up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so what we're going to talk about with Crucible Guard?
Strange Light, says Moose Machine Maelstrom. So with the Crucible Guard, we've seen that the Order of the Golden Crucible has changed from being like the Exxon of the Iron Kingdoms into a military power. So maybe a little bit like Exxon. I don't know. But it's interesting because back in the day, they were really just focused on amassing wealth.
Right.
They had their black powder monopoly. They were just getting as much gold from every other nation they could.
I was gonna say before pre-invasion of Lael, they effectively were like U.S. Steel or any of those major it wasn't just a monopoly like you would think of in modern day
Right,
where you're
right.
like, oh, Amazon has a monopoly on online sales or stuff like that, right? Where it's not like these guys controlled everything.
Yep, absolutely.
There was no black powder outside of that. They could have ended war in the
They
Iron
could have,
Kingdoms
and they chose not to.
by simply not being greedy.
Yeah, no, but they were super, super greedy.
Would they have ended war though? Because there's still like dragons and werewolves and dudes with bows.
Yeah, but there would be no gun war, and gun war is the best war.
Gun war is like you think about what really
Like
proliferates
best
the
war.
It's
The
gun
Protectorate
war.
has Menoth's Fury. They would just flamethrower everybody while nobody had bullets to fight him back.
Yeah, but Manos Fury has a limited range. You need a pressure vessel to get very far.
Yeah.
A gun can shoot
You know what
14
I'm
inches.
hearing? I'm hearing a lot of apologist logic for why the Golden Crucible wasn't horrible.
Anyway,
Yeah, they helped.
No,
Well, think of all the horrors.
they helped a lot of people die. Is
Well,
that helping?
They helped bad people die, which makes you a good person.
Oh, okay.
I'm
they
the,
helped
I'm the
bad
moral compass of this discussion.
That's terrifying.
It's different having you on this segment, by the way. It's real different.
I know.
But anyway, so they were just worried about making as much money as possible from as many people as possible. And it's likely that when Khador just raffle stomped through Lael, that they were doing it with blasting powder from
Yes,
Rinner,
well,
right?
absolutely. Like they're like, yeah, you're getting shot with your own bullets. That's uncool.
Yeah. So
like this wasn't part of the deal.
Captain Hindsight being 2020, they decided that, okay, maybe we need to get in on this war game. We no longer have our monopoly. We don't have any money.
Right.
So, like, all of the people who didn't just surrender immediately and kind of work as indentured servants to Khadorans, and then eventually the Protectorate came in, whole
True
thing.
patriotic sons and daughters of the new motherland.
Yeah, sure, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of the former members of the Golden Crucible in Laren were kicked out, and they had nowhere to go, and they also had no money. Like, really, they didn't have any resources to do anything, and that's where the whole Ordic connection comes in.
Well, I mean, Baird has always proven himself to be pretty foxy, let's say.
Shrewd?
Like, pretty shrewd.
Yeah.
You know, these guys show up and he's like, oh, they're going to build a bunch of weapons and just, you know, I got a couple empty buildings.
Right.
You guys can have them.
Well,
Don't worry about it.
I was literally writing about that before coming down here. Is the Mid-Fast Weapons Foundry? It was like it's described as 70 people because we couldn't use normal numbers in talking about it.
Sure.
And like 3 senior members. And that was the Mid-Fast chapter of the Golden Crucible, right? And then suddenly all of these refugees who didn't want to sleep in a park in Corvus are coming in. They're like, hey, so can we crash here?
Right.
And like we said, Baird is very shrewd. So what he wound up doing is saying, yeah, you could totally have like these city blocks, just build whatever you want there. But hey, you need money.
Right.
I need warjacks, and I need an ability to project power. I can't do that.
Right.
Like, the Shield Division has to keep Khador back constantly. There's Cryx. Like, Ord has its own problems.
That raises an interesting question. So let me know if you feel prepared for this question.
Oh, I'm always prepared.
I'll
be wrong.
If I name some different factions, could you tell me how the Crucible Guard feels in a very broad stroke about why they might fight them for any reason?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Signar.
Signar, I could see there being some friction there if their strategic objectives don't align. Because the Crucible Guard going into Lael, they want their old stuff back. I almost swore. I forgot that we
We're live, dude.
Yeah, I know.
There's no dump button.
Oh, yeah. No, so they want to get their stuff back. And sometimes that might cause friction with Signar because Signar wants to hold a particular strategic position. Or Signar finds out that they've got like a huge cache of super evil like mustard gas or something underneath a civilian population that they've been hiding there for just such circumstances.
Just in case.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
absolutely.
safe down there. The other thing too, right, is like when you look at especially the Golden Crucible to Signar, you've kind of got this industrial espionage thing going on, right? Like Signar has always wanted to crack their monopoly. Like, if you're a nation, you don't want to keep paying dudes for your guns. You don't want to be reliant on them.
That's true. And Signar needs all the guns. Like
They
lightning
do.
only helps so much.
The thing that I love about, just to jump back really quick to, you talked about how Baird needs to project his strength. The thing that I love about Baird specifically is that he fights all the wars, and yet Ord is completely neutral.
Yeah.
So he's like, I have nothing to do with these
no,
guys.
it's just a bunch of
They're
alchemists.
just a bunch of these crazy alchemists just
Plausible
running out shooting
deniability.
people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we lump almost like Circle, Legion, and Scorn all into the same group?
Kinda. Like they'll fight if they're there, but
But there's not a one they have more. So,
like there's no animosity.
I mean, outside of like think Khador, right? Like Khador's
Well,
there.
there's definitely some
Like, they got some
animosity with
issues
Khador.
there.
But let's not forget the Protectorate of Menoth took their cool clubhouse.
That's true.
Thunderhead Fortress,
true.
like that was Severius's crash pad for a while. So, like I imagine there's a little bit of friction between those groups too.
Sure.
Okay. Is there so Khador's the main one? Sounds like the Horde's factions are just like threats they would have to deal with.
Yeah.
But let's get a little weird.
Okay. I can get weird.
There's two in particular: Convergence and Cephalix.
Well-
and mainly, do Cephalix ever get some of their like alchemical like pumped dudes like a Trancer, and they're like, can we make that into a monstrosity?
Oh,
and like one of
absolutely.
the Exelons is like, don't
touch that.
Don't touch that.
Well, I mean, there's some definite parallels between the Cephalix psychokinesis and what Trancers are doing. Like they could be just artificially juicing people with a bit of that like Cephalix mustard, you know, just like getting them closer to what the Cephalix have done to themselves.
Cephalix mustard.
But like that's a trap. The question about the convergence, because Athenor Locke. She's an Aurum Lucanum, so she's in like the upper order
Right.
of these alchemists. And
I think she's really interesting to people.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's kind of why I asked
Yeah,
this
yeah,
question:
I bet.
is how does that all fit together? Would they go to war with the Convergence? Then how does Locke fit into that?
So I think that Locke, because she is a devout Cyricist and she works with the Convergence of Cyrus, I don't think she's actually like a full-fledged Convergence member. She's not like in the inner circle of the cult, but she definitely has objectives that align with them. So she would do everything in her power to sort of steer the Crucible Guard away if it looked like their efforts would somehow imperil a facility of the Convergence.
Okay.
And, give them information about the movements of the Crucible Guard in Lael where it might cross over.
Well, not to mention that Prospero kind of steps on the Convergence
Sure.
trademarks there
Sure.
a little
But,
bit.
I mean, because
Like,
you could have an army
like,
that's got
we're
Locke
gonna
and
stick
Prospero
a
in the
dude
same
in a
army,
robot
right?
suit.
So
Yeah.
she must be a little bit different in that she's willing to accept that he exists and doesn't want to immediately rip his head off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, she's sort of not within the Convergence of Cyrus as a member. They sort of ask her to perform favors for them and that kind of thing. But as far as fighting, yeah, they could absolutely fight because the Crucible, Order of the Golden Crucible, is making all these new warjacks for Ord, right? And everybody knows that the warjacks go against the harmonics because it's artificial intelligence, right?
Right.
So there'd be some ideological differences there. Plus, they could just, again, back to the question of strategic positions that they both covet. Right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting. Well, because I always find a lot of people when they build their narrative on their table,
Yeah.
they're like, why are we fighting?
Oh, yeah.
And with a new like the last faction we did, Grimkin, was quite easy. Why are Grimkin fighting?
Because everybody's awful.
Because Grimkin.
Yeah.
But like this is not a nation, but a military organization that has the goals and thoughts and aren't just
Yeah.
insane demons coming out of Urkane.
Yeah.
So it might be like, okay, why would I fight against, say, Rule? Why would I fight against Ios and things like that? So information like that is always just useful to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I
How
think
does the
Ios-
Retribution feel about alchemy?
Well, it's not alchemy. Don't forget that the Aurum Legate, Lucas de More, figured out a way to take a non-magic dude and make him a magic dude.
Oh, yeah,
he
they'll
is,
hate
he is
that.
on Warcaster
Yeah,
juice. So if in any way he could figure out a way to not have that formula kill people, man, the job of the Retribution becomes that much harder. So they're pissed, right? They're probably gunning for de More more than anybody else right now.
Yes.
I like the idea of all of the true warcasters getting really upset about people on juice. They're like that guy clearly is taking the juice.
Dude,
That's
he's
not
stepping
cool.
on their
Like,
brand.
You have a whole like weird professional sports thing happening where they're like, no, he can't play.
Wait, does the juice work on non-humans? Or do we know yet?
We don't know yet.
I want a story where some little gobber.
Warcaster Gobber?
No, this little gobber just
This is going back to Gremlins, isn't it? You want a Gremlins 2 scenario. The
Yeah.
goblins get loose and
Dude, it's in the movie.
I
Golden
want a
Crucible thing
Swamp
and
Gobber
start
River
drinking.
Raider. Swamp Gobber River Raider
Right.
attacks like a boat full of their stuff moving out of like Ord somewhere else, and he gets into the juice and he's just like and like just juices up, and then we have this like little crazy insane Warcaster Gobber running around.
See, the thing that I want to know is the same kind of, or different formulas of the same juice created a juice box Warcaster.
Yep.
And a Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde situation with Alice DeMarc, right?
Right.
So what happens when you juice up a gobber? Does he turn into a giant lobster or something? Like, obviously this is an
That is a
unstable
strange
formula.
metamorphosis from gobber to lobster.
Giant lobster.
Giant lobster.
I got
Sure.
crab claws. Is he just like falling over?
I was thinking of the crab grappler on the River
Yeah, there
Raiders.
you go.
Oh yeah,
There
little
you go.
crab grappler. That's from Heap.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
know.
think-
Good
Well,
callback.
Yeah.
I think with that image burned into everybody's mind live that we can't take back of crab gobber,
Lobster gobber.
lobster gobber. Sorry, yeah,
Gobstrosity.
Gobstrosity.
Lobber.
That's his name.
the gobstrosity.
Gobstrosity.
Anyway. This was as well regulated as any version we've ever
Once
done.
again, we did not put rails down at all. This is
Great. This is what you guys do on this part of the show?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
Pretty
love
much.
this.
Although we didn't talk about stuff this time.
We
which
didn't.
Is, which has been-
I was worried we were going to talk about stuff, Man of
feel
War
like,
stuff
I feel
or
like we
Ogren
can
stuff.
quickly gloss over Crucible Guard stuff and say that they really value their beakers.
Like,
Like,
boiling flasks.
does he have a
really,
fine chemistry set?
all lab glass is probably at the top of their priority chain.
Dog, you got some sweet lab glass. Get
And I think with
that
that,
Bunsen burner going. Get it going.
We have to take this to an end now.
Oh, good.
We have to say goodbye to you and move on to the next segment. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for being on.
Thank
Thank you very much, Getz.
All right, give you a mic.
Yeah, I'll handle this.
Oh, wait, you gotta say to play the drums.
Play
All right, so we're in between segments now.
Well, not really. I mean, on deck is Will Pagani.
All right.
He's ready to go. Come on in. Come on in.
The chat
Mr.
says we have a
Pagani.
confirmed new faction of Gobstrosities.
Gobstrosities. It's more like that's the light cephalix monstrosity is the Gobstrosity.
Hey, Boo.
I
How
think
you doing?
they're lobbers. Lobster
Lobbers?
gobbers.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That all started on a Primecast,
It will.
didn't it?
Hello.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I mean, technically, it started in the office, and then we did it on
Oh,
the
sure,
front.
sure. But it went public on a
It did.
Primecast.
So it's Struggle of Wills time.
Struggle of Wills.
Now, we got a couple
Well,
things we
cute.
want to talk about, but we're going to kind of go through the first two pretty fast.
Okay.
And then we're going to move on. We should introduce you. With us is Will Pagani, lead CID developer.
That's me.
We got to remember this is going on the audio
I know.
podcast later on.
My favorite part about your title is that you're community integrated developer.
Development developer. I develop the development
of
the community's integration. Leadly.
Leadly. Yeah.
Nailed it.
This is what you tell people at parties.
me.
Like, so what do you do? And then they're like, yes.
Don't
They have
ever
no
ask
idea what you
me.
just said.
Yes.
Let's cover the first two topics so we can get right into Monpoc. So first one, Steamroller 2018 CID came and went. It went great. Everyone should expect to see those changes right after lock and load. We will preview what the ADR is going to look like a couple months in advance so that everyone can get ready and start getting their models and lists together. We'll also let you know what the Champions format will look like in terms of the one list optional or two lists required, so on and so forth, so everyone knows what they're building towards. But thank you very much, everybody, for all your feedback and your participation. You helped
Yeah,
us out a lot.
fast cycle, too. I mean, you only
Fast
had it for a
cycle.
week, so get in there and get it done.
Yeah, you guys nailed it. Thank you very much. You girls nailed it too. Thank you very much. Then the current cycle going on right now is Crucible Guard, and it is on fire. Not in a bad way. I mean, like it's busy.
It's a big
Yes.
one. Well, I mean, it's a whole new faction.
Yeah.
So that alone means that it's bigger than almost all of the Theme Force ones. And you're talking about everything.
33
Being
pages
interesting.
in the PDF of new rules.
Whew.
3 of them don't really count because it's things like the Vulcan's other grid and things like that. But 33 pages in the rules PDF.
If you want to participate, go to cid.privateerpress.com. You can
Absolutely.
participate right now. It's going on for some time after this comes out, where it's not ending anytime immediately.
Yes, we haven't listed an end date for it because we want to make sure that we get enough testing in. So whereas most cycles will go 2 weeks, I imagine this one will go longer, 4, 5, 6 weeks, similar to the Grimkin one would be my guess.
So before we get into Monpoc, let's talk about real fast Crucible Guard CID. What is the topic that has come up that you find the most interesting, or any suggestions you've seen that you thought were particularly cool?
Well, we had a dev talk on immunities and stuff and what's going on with them, and we are changing those in the CID. We've had a lot of really great ideas pop up in this dev talk, and we are talking over a lot of different options internally on how we want to handle immunities going forward. And we've had incredibly huge amounts of feedback on how our current proposed change of 1d6 off of damage for that damage type disproportionately affects different parts of the game. So we're looking at different options to address that because we don't really want to invalidate anything because of this change. We want to make sure that it's the best change for the game that we can possibly make. So we have a lot of work ahead of us in that one, and I think that's going to be one of the bigger topics of this CID. Otherwise, in general, I think the CID is going very well. We found one infinite loop so far.
I was about to say, so my favorite that has been found so far is Locke, and the
Yes.
feedback on Locke has been some of the most passionate because she also works for Convergence, so there's a lot of things to test. But yeah, there was an infinite loop where if you had the lock-on-lock mirror match with her feet, when one of them cast a spell, the other one got to cast a spell for free. So that means if they were both in each other's control ranges and they both had feet up, one would bombshell, then the other one would bombshell,
And it
and then
would
the other one would
create
bombshell, and then
an
the other one would
infinite
bombshell, and they would infinitely do this till someone died.
Well, I mean, there's like a really good chance that one of them would eventually crit and throw the other one out of their control area or something,
Yeah.
but it's just not really a situation we want to go into. Like, we don't want that in the game, so
Nope.
that's not going to be in the game. So that's one of the ones that we're really discussing on how to fix and what we want to do with her feet and that kind of stuff. Because
So expect a change there because
that, I mean, there will be a change. I don't know what it's going to be
Do you
yet.
remember the last infinite loop that occurred? I can only think of one. It
Oh, what's the one you got?
It was in Mark 1.
Is it Baldur 1?
No, it was
Ooh, I got a
Magnus
Baldur
1
one.
Renegade Knockdown Shred.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Shred didn't have to do a damage; it just had to hit, and it wasn't crit. So in Mark 1, if Magnus knocked something down, you had the Renegade go up. You just shredded, and you
attack
just
until
like,
it
you
died,
just like and just okay.
Yeah.
That thing's dead eventually.
But my favorite one from Mark 1 was Baldur 1's feat said you could not advance into his control area and end your activation there. So if you could advance into his control area and attack him, you could try and attack him and kill him. And if you killed him, you won the game, so it was fine. But if you didn't kill him, it was an illegal game state and had to rewind. So you actually got infinite tries to try and kill Baldur 1.
Nailed
So
it.
as long as it was mathematically possible to kill him, he died.
I wish we had called his feet Groundhog's Day.
Right?
That'd have been amazing.
Yes. So that's my favorite infinite loop that made it into the game.
We've got limited time. Let's move on to the big topic we all want to talk about. Let's talk about Monsterpocalypse. So, as members of the dev team, you and I have been testing this game for quite some time, and as the executive director who's been there since
playtest as well.
day one, the three of us we couldn't be more hype about this thing finally coming out.
So Defender X has always been my boy, and that model is incredible.
It's so
It makes me so happy. So happy.
I mean, yeah, the ability to go back and like one of the big things, right? Just with the models in general and people looking at them being like, oh my gosh, these look so much more detailed, but yet like they're bigger, all that stuff. The real key to that is not only has Privateer an extra 10 years of sculpting like ability behind it and new talent, and digital sculpting is now a really big thing, but the fact of the matter is that when the game was pre-painted and collectible and stuff, there's only so much detailing you can get away with and still make those models work for that production cycle. One of the big things we talked about when we were talking about relaunching the game was what form would the game take? What would the models do? And we realized that, being effectively a whole group of people who love hobby miniatures and love painting and building cool models and all that stuff, that this time we really wanted to dive back in and do the models as hobby miniatures so that we could get all of the detail out of them that we wanted. We could really realize them like we always wanted them to.
Yeah, and I think it's a brilliant decision. And I think all of us are so on board with being able to paint because being able to paint your army your way is actually really important. We all have our favorite color schemes and things we like. Like I'm already going through my head of what my Martian color scheme is going to look like. Like I'm not going to go with the silver and green. I'm going to come up with something totally different. And also customization. So the conversion rules in Steamroller say 50% or more Privateer press parts. Well, guess what we're introducing, everybody? A bunch of new cool Privateer press parts you'll be able to use for conversions. So if I don't see some Guard and Planet Eater and Martian stuff on some War Machine models, I'll be super disappointed in all you creative people out there.
Super disappointed.
But let's talk about the overall. Right now, first off, if you're just joining in, monsterpocalypse.com, you can go read the FAQ. You can go read about the announcement, see the announcement video, get all the main information there. More than we can cover right now. But let's talk about how the game is being sort of broken down. When you play the game, you're new to Monsterpocalypse. What side am I choosing, and then what decisions am I making within the side I choose?
Yeah, so the factions are all still there, like they were in the original Monsterpocalypse. But unlike the original Monsterpocalypse, you're not really going to pick a single faction to play. You're going to pick an agenda. And at the moment, the game has two agendas in it, Protectors and Destroyers. Protectors, kind of the good guys. They're fighting on the side of the Earth, and they're getting in there, and they're punching the bad guys, which are the Destroyers, who are here to destroy Earth, colonize Earth, or eat it.
It's just a point of view, man.
I guess. Sure, fair enough.
I mean, it's
I'm not here to
a pretty
talk
radical point of view.
I mean,
Pretty black and white. Like, do you want to live on the Earth? Are
do
you
you
a
wanna-
person? Are you a human?
last time I checked, Guard monsters can still knock buildings over and like.
Collateral damage is to be expected.
Yeah, acceptable losses, man.
Look,
If you're such a good guy, why are you picking up Gorgadra and body slamming him on top of like?
They evacuated that building.
yeah,
They did not.
they did.
Maybe they did.
They clear out the entire city sector.
You choose your narrative.
Well,
Exactly.
beforehand.
Exactly. So agendas are very important because they tell you how to play. And with the game changing from a one monster to a two monster focus, you're going to be able to mix and match factions very, very easily. So this is important because there's a bunch of different stuff out there, and you can take all these different types of models and stuff in your agenda.
I think like one of the really big deals about the agenda versus the factions from the old game. So in the old game, you could play anything you wanted.
Sure.
I mean, you take your monster, you could take any unit from anybody.
Yeah.
Within the wheel, right? So the agenda kind of breaks down that idea a little bit, and it says, okay, now you have your two factions. You can take whichever monsters you want out of them. Mm-hmm. And then we really opened up in order to make this to make the agenda really feel the agenda. And this is my favorite part, is that a lot of the abilities in the old game that were like, this only works with your faction, which really disincentivized you from trying to expand and take different things,
Yeah.
are now all like within your agenda. So all of a sudden you have this huge range of possibilities where you can have your Carnodons running next to your Sunfighters that are led by Sky Sentinel, and they're all getting these bonuses that open up, I think, a lot of fun strategies and tactics and stuff. And again, really goes back to that 2 monster kind of idea.
And let's really spell this out for people. So there's the 2 agendas, good guys, bad guys. There's 3 factions per that we've said so far. It's a 2 monster game. Your monsters can be both from the same faction or 2 different factions, as long as those factions are within your agenda. So if you're playing Defenders and you want to play Defender X and Terracon, you can. If you want to play Defender X and Sky Sentinel, you can. And then when you take your units, your G tanks and repair trucks and Carnodons, things like that, you can mix and match those any quantity you'd like, as long as it's in the same agenda, which means you're not going to see saucers with a Defender X army. You're only going to see the agenda as its own self-contained thing, but you can freely mix and match. And I think one of the fun things about army building in this game is, do I want to play pure faction within my agenda, so I'm only playing guard models as a protector, or do I want to be a mix of guard, pterosaurs, and Shadow Sun? And how do I mix those things together to get the proper synergies? Like you said, some monsters synergize with certain things better than others. It's really deep, and there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of customization for what your force is like.
So what I'm most excited about for agenda play is taking Defender X as one of my monsters, and then taking Carnodons with him, and then putting little helmets on them, and painting them like they're little guard troopers.
One of the things, by the way, one of the most yelled things during playtest is Carnodon Party.
Yep.
Carnodon Party is whenever you have a monster, an enemy monster, and it gets bum rushed by anywhere between 3 and entirely too many Carnodons.
And then they just start biting the
and they
little
just
guy.
start biting in his little heels.
They're so cute.
They're like little adorable little.
They're like giant
fat lizard monsters,
on legs, honestly.
but they're mainly
pretty
made
brutal.
of teeth and death, and they'll just tear your body out.
So-
Carnodon Party. Hashtag Carnodon Party.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people that have played this game in the past will be very familiar with the rule set. We definitely built it out from the original game, and we've changed a very good amount of it, but it will feel very similar to what you've played before. So,
yeah, I mean, when we started, we literally just played Monsterpocalypse.
Correct.
Right? Like we sat down. You and Souls played several games. I know I jumped in and we effectively just played Monsterpocalypse. We made a bunch of notes. We were like, okay, what doesn't feel right? What do we want to improve upon? Looking at what we wanted to do in terms of like making 2 monsters more standard, because you could play multi-monster in original Monsterpocalypse, but it wasn't really a normal version. It was very different. Like you had to sit down and you were just going to play it out.
And we should say though, even though to clarify for everybody, this is very much a new edition of the game, and there's going to be a lot of changes. So don't think that if you played the first one, you're going to know everything. There's major changes that have occurred where this is going to feel like a new but familiar game.
Correct.
And I think why you talked about one of the small quality of life changes that is a huge difference when you play Monpot.
So a lot of the changes that we did look at were making things easier for players to play, making the game move faster, making it more consistent of a game experience and stuff. And one of the big ones that we ended up changing was monsters can move through units.
Yeah.
And that's super important if you played the original Monpoc, because sometimes you would get boxed in by a little G tank, and it doesn't make much sense.
No, why is Terracon stuck behind 2 tanks?
Yeah, like that's not cool, man.
Now, he still can't stop and move on top of them unless you use a certain ability or attack that would let you do so, but your standard movement, you can freely move. You can't move across other monsters, but you can freely move across anything that's little because it's dumb not to.
Correct. So that's just kind of an example of one of the ways that we've made the game a little faster, because there's a little more engagement going on in every turn because you're not boxed in by these things. And you're a little more mobile and a little more able to actively affect the board and
Now,
stuff. So
right now, for everybody watching live, we do have a lot of questions coming in right now. We want to let everybody know that there's a ton of information and details coming about Monsterpocalypse soon. And as Schick said at the beginning of this,
I've put the brakes on
he has reined us in on how much
Against-
we're going to say.
against everybody's desire, including my own, because we've got a lot of really cool content planned, and we want to have this be as exciting a ramp up as possible and let people know as we go along with things. So we see your questions; they're all there.
The answers are
But
coming.
we're not
The
going to answer
answers
them
are
right
coming.
now.
I will say
There's
really
one-
quick that like we talked about, it's based on the same game. So you do bring a city still.
Yep.
You do play on a map. The dice pools are still there.
The dice system, you remember?
So
It's changed a little
It's
bit.
changed a
it's
little bit.
changed, like Pagani said, there have been streamlines, there have been improvements, all that stuff. But the core of Monsterpocalypse is still Monsterpocalypse.
There's
right?
one thing I want to say that we haven't talked about a ton yet, and I just want to let everybody know in case you missed it. There's going to be organized play for this game. There's going to be leagues. There's going to be a tournament, sort of like its own steamroller. And one of the really cool things that we're working on right now is that we're going to make alt sculpt buildings as the first place prize for a lot of these tournaments. So when you go to a tournament, the prize you win will be something that you can literally play in the game, and you'll want to go win multiple tournaments to be able to get your, say, your privateer press version of maybe an apartment building or something like that. It's going to be really, really cool. The prize support and the organized play scene for this is going to be very robust and very well supported.
So we do have one chat question that I just got okayed. I just leaned over here and talked to Schick about it. It was like, hey, buddy, can we answer that one? And it's from Balderdash, and he asks, what about all of the symbols that were on the bases?
I believe he says, what about the bazillion?
bazillion
I didn't
symbols.
want to like put the spin on it.
Yeah, but bazillions is fun to say. Say it.
Bazillions? It's a good word.
Say it better.
Bazillions.
Bazillions. There you go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, so there will no longer be stats located on bases of models. There will not be symbols for special rules.
Yep.
None of that is in the game. We've taken everything, we've streamlined it all the way down. It'll be on things like stack cards and that kind of stuff. So
And it's super, compared to the amount of like things you had to remember in their interactions, that's probably one of the biggest changes of the game. That
Yes.
got cut down tremendously, so that when you start playing this game, you will be able to go right into it and have a good time. And it's very easy to pick up and start playing, but it's got a lot of depth to master.
Yep.
Yeah, the one thing, before we end this segment really quick, the one thing I would say about that whole thing, right, is the thing that was really exciting to me about Monsterpocalypse and stuff is that War Machine and Hordes are awesome games, right? They're super deep, but there's a lot of, to be really good, to be like at a Pagani level when he's playing professionally,
He doesn't-
kicking everybody's butt.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You're retired now.
Yeah.
But back in the day,
You retired into a career.
There's what I would call work before the game, right? Where you do a lot of research, you figure out what the matchups are, you figure out what's going on.
Yep.
You need to know how your army synergizes and works really well together.
Got to know your meta.
Monsterpocalypse completely takes a lot of that pre-work out, and you can just show up at a table with your stuff and have a very deep experience on the table itself. So a lot of the homework and figuring out how things work is once you're at the table rather than a lot of beforehand. And I think that really opens it up to people who want to do stuff. So I see that there's a response about to go out that says I don't cater to demands, but I was totally going to end this segment and say, join us back for more Monsterpocalypse as we build up to the release of Monsterpocalypse this fall. And we'll have tons more content and be happy to talk way more about it. Again, we're super looking forward to it and all the good content we have planned. Also to get our models on and painted.
Can one of you two play the drums, please?
Double 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 huh.
I give to you.
Thanks, Boo.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the little in-between before the next segment starts.
Woo woo! I mean, there's not a whole lot in between because he's on deck. Only Getz really provided the opportunity for off-the-rails randomness. This is your mic.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
It's the only one that you have.
It's a Will sandwich.
It is.
Yeah.
We're the bread and you're the meat.
Oh, is this Primecast after dark? Is things just
I mean,
getting
that's how you
weird?
make a sandwich. Do you want to do the peanut butter?
I like peanut
What if it's a
butter.
low carb sandwich?
Then
Normally
there's no
it's-
bread.
normally
Bread.
it's-
Then that's just eating peanut butter.
Are we just lettuce then?
I think that means that I just get to
Oh.
do the segment and you two would leave
Did you
because
say
it would
it-
just be me.
a lettuce and peanut butter sandwich?
I
Is
mean,
that what
yeah,
you just
two-
advocated for?
Well, I don't know what he's put in the middle. It's up to
It's
him.
not lettuce and peanut butter, I can tell you that. Desert shrimp.
All right. So,
Nailed it.
Man, I managed to
So
break everyone in
So
the
it's
room with
two
that.
lettuce leaves and desert shrimp?
Desert shrimp.
Only because I've been to LVO with you, so I know.
is the desert shrimp scorpions?
Desert shrimp? No, desert shrimp are regular shrimp that you buy in the desert. You take your life in your own hands every time you eat them, so I eat them as often as I can to test myself. I have become far more powerful because of desert shrimp.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. We're here with JR, and we're here to talk about some conventions. And
mean,
JR, you're full of life and happiness. How are you?
Life, happiness, and desert shrimp.
So, we're here to talk about some of the upcoming cons, yeah?
Yes.
So, we're about to next week we're leaving for Gamma.
So next
Monday,
week,
yeah.
this Will, the Will that just left, and myself, which, by the way, he left the chair quite warm. It's
Oh,
disturbing.
That man is a
He burns
heater.
hot. Yeah, he burns hot. He's got
We'll
a high
get there.
metabolism.
Yeah.
So it'll be this Will, the Will that just left, myself, and Matt Will son, who will be at Gamma next week. We fly out Monday and fly back on Friday. That's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, if you happen to be a retailer and you're watching this and you're heading to Gamma or part of the press or anything like that, stop by. We've got a couple of cool presentations going on, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. We've got some stuff to show off. And, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I've never been to Reno, so we'll find out how that is. But our days are pretty darn full. We're gonna be doing demos like 3 nights out of the whole event show. We've got the 2 exhibit hall stuff. We've got, like I said, presentations on Wednesday and Tuesday. I went backwards, but those are the 2 right days,
You
right?
did, but I'm pretty sure that it's Wednesday and Thursday. Or Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday. All right, Tuesday and Thursday. So
We'll find out.
Then the week
I've got
after
it on the schedule.
The week after that, though, where are we heading?
Well, so we fly back on Friday. I get back. I'm here long enough to take a nap, do some laundry, and then I take you.
Oh wait, do you need the washing machine free?
I mean, potentially.
Those of you who don't know, we live together and are also soulmates. So
Life mate, soulmate.
yeah.
Man, weird. We're not going there.
Okay, so you come back.
Probably cellmate.
Cellmates.
John is your cellmate.
They've never caught me, John.
It depends on how Reno goes. That might be the case. So then, yeah, we fly to Adepticon.
Yeah.
So that'll be Will Hungerford. We'll have Oz. We'll have Pagani. We'll have Dallas.
We'll
We'll
have
have
Lyle?
Matt Getz. We'll have Lyle. And we'll have the dankest of legacies.
Yeah, Travis Marg, Dank Legacy himself, is going to be there helping us run all the events. Actually, just kind of running all the events while we, do our thing.
Trying to manage you guys. He gets a taste of what I have to deal with.
I finally get to debut Caster Draft at Adepticon,
Yes.
and I'm so excited to see everybody get to play it. I've been, we worked on this, we tested it internally.
Yep.
I'm
We had a lot of fun creating some really crazy things.
This is probably
Completely
and
absurd.
spite drafting against each other.
Oh yeah, no,
Hardcore.
I played a lot of card games in my day. I enjoy draft formats in all of them. Caster Draft was something I was very passionate about creating, so I just had fun making it, and it seems like it translated across to the play of it. And it's gonna be. It's
I mean,
gonna be
anytime
a
I
blast.
can make a warcaster that can get plus 15 arm through its various abilities and feats, I'm.
You know how hard that is to pull off.
that's
You have to be
not
drafting
Hard
with
to block.
no one.
You also had nothing else.
yeah, you
I
didn't
did.
do
I
anything.
did.
You were
I-
a turtle
I
that just
basically-
wandered around
you were
the
like a
board.
structure.
My
You were like a
warcaster
mobile.
that I built was completely useless, but he was impossible to kill, which was amazing.
So you didn't build a warcaster, you built a structure.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically. I built a building, a brick house, if you will.
Well, okay, so I'm super hyped for Caster Draft, and I'm also really hyped to hang out with the community. I've been to Adepticon for the last I don't know how many years, and I love that show.
45.
I love hanging out with everybody, so I hope to see many of you there. What events at Adepticon are coming up that you're all about, or you want to let people know about?
Well, so some that people will know about, we are doing a Masters and a Champions. But this will be, I believe, the first
Oh, we
time
finally got them in.
that we've got these. So for Masters,
Hold on. Put on your 3D glasses
3D
now!
glasses.
it's not Iron Painter.
I want to see. Go and tell them what they are, though.
So for Masters and Champions, we actually have some brand new feat coins. They're gigantic, so you can slam it on the table so people know when your feat is happening. So we have the 4 for the various awards you can win in Champions. In Masters, we have a gold, silver, and a copper one. And then for Steamroller, as well as Caster Draft, people will be able to actually get the focus tokens that you guys have seen in the weekly rumbles that have been happening.
Don't take that from me like I'm a child.
Just be glad
You
he
are a
didn't swat
child.
your hand when he did it. So people will actually be able to get the focus tokens in the gold, silver, and copper for first, second, and third. So it's our first chance to kind of roll those out, and people get a chance to see them. They'll only be available at the shows that we run the events. So Adepticon, Lock and Load, and Gen Con.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's our Masters of Champions. We actually have a narrative event that you'll be overseeing with the Boars
Back
Gate
on the wall, right?
Boarsgate, it's the scavengers of Boarsgate. It's the after story after Holden's become a Grimkin, the fight's over, everything's
After
been
Cryx betrayed the defenders to allow Holden to be drugged screaming out of his little shack.
everything's been blown up, and this is a bunch of scavengers showing up and a bunch of basically mercs hired by Ord to go start fixing the wall, and a bunch of people being like, "There's jack parts all around, y'all. I'm gonna get some, make me something good."
So it's gators
what
only, or did you just go straight swamp brain?
That's just how people talk when they steal
That's
things.
not
Yeah,
how
that
people
was-
talk.
Every
I was
time
gonna
I've
say,
ever
this
stolen
was-
anything, that's how I talk.
This was a cute.
I know.
This was a cute look back to like little Hungerford's life.
just
when,
a
when
glimpse.
he had to
When
go
you
around
see
and
a-
fix a door.
Normally,
when
stuff
you
like
see-
that would only come out during therapy.
Are y'all telling me when you see an unlocked car, you don't just jump in and start taking things? I mean, it's not my fault.
taking a nap?
That's a good
that
cassette
a-
tape. Give me that burnt copy of
Cassette tape?
Primecast.
Are you jumping into cars in the 80s? Are these time traveling cars?
No, if I had a time traveling car, everybody would be screwed. Nobody wants
Leaving
that.
that one alone. So we also have a narrative event run by Oz.
Yeah, Company of Iron.
Company of
Company of
Iron
Iron.
event. It's actually going to be a 4-table Company of Iron event, each table running with rules that change based on what happens during each game. So what may happen in table 3 will affect everybody. So I'm excited for that one. That one should be crazy.
Well, and it's another opportunity to get a new commander upgrade card, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love those.
This one is titled Territorial Defender.
Oh,
People will get a chance to find out what it does at the show, but it'll be a brand new card for that.
real fast for the promotional cards, something we mentioned about 6 months ago was all the promotional commander upgrade cards we made that came out at conventions, special events, and stuff like that, that they would be available in War Room 6 months after they were released. For those of you with War Room playing Company of Iron, by the way, the Master of Coin Company upgrade or commander upgrade card went live just recently. So you should see that on War Room now because that one came out. That was one of the first ones. that
Master
went,
Coin is so much fun.
It lets you bring basically a Merker minion unit.
No, more importantly, it lets you use any card as a recover card. Yeah. And when you can draw the recover cards like some people in this room, it's just so much better to have 3 more of them.
Yeah. So we've only got limited time with you, JR. Adepticon, got any other major event you want to tell us about?
So
I would hope so. This is a test.
This is a
Don't-
test?
Don't fail it. Yeah, this is a test.
Then just for that, no, I don't.
All right, Kingdom Come.
Commitment to fail on this one. So what is the event that that you feel that I should talk
I
about?
feel like it might be something to do with like locking and loading some game fests.
That's not happening at Adepticon.
No.
Because what
We're
Hungerford
talking-
asked
we're
was,
talking
do you have
about new
anything
events.
else that you want to
New
talk
events.
about at
New
Adepticon?
events.
I'm not going to hold lock and load at Adepticon.
You should.
I have enough to
That
do
would
there.
be amazing.
So instead,
What happens between Adepticon and Lock and Load?
So what happens between Adepticon and Lock and Load is a show called Kingdom Con
Yes.
down in San Diego.
Are we going?
We are going. There will be more information on that in the next either Primecast or Primecast Live.
Yeah.
And there will most likely be an insider about it as well as future shows coming up relatively soon.
That show's sweet. It's got some of the best hot tubs you'll ever sit in. It's a ton of fun, great events, and we will talk about that one more.
That was the show that we got 30 dudes in a hot tub.
That's one where we get a chance to hang out with Ross
There we
Thompson
go.
too, huh?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that show's
I'm
fantastic.
just impressed. How big of a hot tub?
Smaller than should allow 30 dudes in it.
Cool. And
It
let's-
was a big bowl of dude soup.
Can we talk about the big thing that I know that you are just like working on nonstop? Don't look for Tony for approval when you say things like that. You
Yeah, I
just
mean,
roll with it.
I'm not looking for approval.
You
I've
literally
said it.
can't
I
stop
approved
it.
it.
There's no dump button.
Yeah, there's no dump button.
There's no dump button.
The goal is to break Tony, and I've
There's an
managed to do that
Ethernet cord
These
that we
words
can
are out
pull.
here, so I mean, John has yet to come over the table, so I guess we're probably fine. Just waiting for that. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
I'm gonna get us back on the rails. For some reason, I'm the one keeping us on the railless here.
On the railless?
The railless interceptor. Tell me about Lock and Load.
Lock and Load?
Tell me about Lock and Load.
Lock and Load's coming up June 22nd.
And we've got an event list coming for it real
The
soon, right?
event list is going to happen not next week, but the week after.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be tweeting out the exact date once we've got in that week exactly when it will happen. But the events this year, you're going to see some updates. I think one of the biggest changes that we're making, our Masters and Champions event are happening on Friday.
Because?
And our last chance qualifiers.
Yep.
So the winner of Masters and Champions, they'll get points. Anybody who qualifies in those 2 events for the Iron Gauntlet is in Iron Gauntlet this year.
Yeah, so as a reminder, the way Iron Gauntlet works is every officially sanctioned Masters or Champions held up to the World Finals at Lock and Load, you score 10 points for first place, 7 for second, 4 for third. So there's a list at Privateer Plus / Organized Play Iron Gauntlet. Everybody can go see who's qualified right now. And we're going to do 2 last chance qualifiers. But they might qualify more than one person. Say that somebody goes into Lock and Load who has 8 points and they finish third in one of those events, they would have 12 points.
Oh, we could potentially have 6 people qualify
We could potentially
for Iron
have,
Gauntlet.
so it's like a multiple possible last chance qualifier. Can we talk about the special Woogie that the finalists are getting?
The Woogie?
The thing
I
we
think
talked-
you meant trophy, but I'm
No,
not
no,
sure.
no,
Trophy is-
not the trophy. Not the
This
trophy.
is why he took it away from you. You were a child.
The badge thing.
Woogie?
The badge thing. Can we talk about the badge thing?
Where we're going, we don't need no stinking badges.
Okay, I guess that's a no.
So all of our Iron Gauntlet qualifiers who qualified before Lock and Load get a free badge.
Whoop!
Every person who's qualified for Iron Gauntlet before Lock and Load gets a free badge into the show.
John is shocked.
Now, we're not paying hotel, we're not paying airfare, but free badge.
Hey,
Come
don't
on
no,
in.
you get a free
Also,
badge.
Woogie?
Yeah,
Woogie. It's
free
a word.
badge apparently is a term
The
for
cool
Woogie.
Woogie.
This is why we take things away from you.
What's wrong with the word Woogie?
Woogie?
Woogie.
Regardless, one of the other cool things,
It's
so
like a
if you don't
MacGuffin.
get a chance to play in the Adepticon Company of Iron scenario, it's being used as kind of the basis for a Company of Iron scenario that will be live streaming at Lock and Load. Additionally, the last 2 rounds, the semifinals and the finals of Masters, are going to be held on Saturday morning. Those will be live streamed, and then we'll start right into Iron Gauntlet. So you'll get a chance to actually see Iron Gauntlet all day Saturday, and then on Sunday will be the semis and finals of Iron Gauntlet. So people will actually get a chance to see some of our more competitive. So that event list is coming up. There will definitely be a lot more about it. But to check it out, it will be on pplockandload.com.
And if you're qualified for Iron Gauntlet and want your free badge or need to talk about getting your free badge, who do they contact?
Conventions at privateerpress.com.
Yep. Email
There you go.
conventions@privateerpress.com if you're qualified to talk about getting your free badge. If you want to buy a ticket to Lock and Load, if you want to
pplockandload.com.
if you want to see the events,
pplockandload.com.
if you want to go to a sweet website that just looks dope,
pplockandload.com or privateerpress.com or
Or
monsterpocalypse.com.
Monsterpocalypse.
Monsterpocalypse.
I like that.
Don't go to Monsterpocalypse. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with salmon. Not
Desert
monster.
shrimp.
But
The other thing you can do is there are still a couple of rooms left at the hotel, not many, but there are definitely some rooms left at the hotel. So pplockandload.com, that's going to be your source for all of that. There will definitely be a lot more coming between Twitter, Facebook, and our website.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
All right.
Come get a
Well,
room within stumbling distance.
with that, you kind of know the whole shebang. So check out pplockandload.com. Come see us at LVO, or not LVO, Adepticon. Come see us at
we'll
LVO
be at
next
LVO.
year.
Go back in time, see us at
Adepticon.
LVO.
Kingdom Con, so there's a lot of good opportunities to come up. We're always looking forward to meeting everybody, playing games, having fun, hanging out, chatting. So with that, we will say goodbye to JR so you can get off and get started on other things. So
Play the drums. Nice. Somebody in chat asked what format is the IG finals this year. It's Masters. Next year will be Champions.
Championes.
And somebody in chat says, why is Mike Ireland at 14 points but apparently not qualified? Probably a typo on the website.
I mean, there's nobody else on deck, so
Apparently the
Oh,
word
just keep
woogie, which
going?
is just a word I just kind of said like off the top of my head, has a definition.
yeah.
was not
what
aware.
You thought it was. It's not a knick-knack or a prize. So
Oh.
there's that.
My grandma used to say that all the time. So shall we get our outro on?
Let's do our outro.
Yeah.
Yes, because we have no one else on deck. So, what a great episode.
I know.
Like it went pretty well.
It did. It did. I mean, this is our first ever Primecast live. Mm-hmm. A little bit experimental.
It was. It was very experimental.
But I feel
it's
like
our
we've-
concept album.
This is like our concept album. So we'll be back, next month?
Yes. I mean, obviously, Primecast episode 52 coming back next month. Likely to have plenty more info on Monsterpocalypse, on Cryx. There's things being typed right now. Stream schedules coming up as well. So if you can't wait a month for your next Primecast fix, you can feel free to check us out on Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
Well, Tuesdays is weekly Rumble, where we play
Thursdays.
games. Wednesdays is Dev Chat, where we talk about the games that we play. And Thursdays is where Dallas does the sweetest
Paints
possible.
the models that we play with.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And then, of course, all these streams, you can catch them on twitch.tv/privateerpress or on Facebook Live.
Yep.
And then they also go on to YouTube later on at youtube.com/privateerpressprime.
So if you wind up coming in late or missing something, you can always jump back and take a look at that and make sure that you stay up to date on all of the latest information and exciting stuff happening on Privateer Press's streaming services.
What's your favorite part of this? Now we've done our first ever Primecast Live. We're ending it. What is your favorite part?
My favorite part I have to be honest.
This is your second Primecast live. The first one was at Lock and Load
No,
last
but
year.
No,
It was live. It was streaming.
I guess that's
Yep.
true. That's true. It was live. It was
What's your
streaming.
favorite part?
Was my favorite part?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, the fact that we gave everybody 3D glasses and Tony implemented that awesome 3D technology,
My favorite part was the
so that we could bring
freestyle
Primecast Live into their living
into
room.
your face
Yeah.
and into your brain.
Yeah.
My favorite part was the freestyle drums by both John and Tony.
I mean, that was pretty choice. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
That is everything I need. So thanks everybody for watching.
Absolutely.
Please like, share, follow, subscribe, hug, kiss.
Let us know if you
Love.
liked the new format, because I'm sure if enough of you jump on and say this is the way to do it, you will see us on the next Privateer Primecast, and it will be live just like this one.
Yep.
So thank you again for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next go-round.
Bye.
And then we're supposed to just, like,
We're
continue
supposed to banter.
do this and banter and move along.
How
and
about that
There's no music
sportsums?
to go.
And then the
You
ball
say
got thrown.
sportsums?
I just say words they don't mean.